Marcus Thompson's 25th open mic set was supposed to be his last. After 6 months of bombing at the Comedy Store, he'd finally accepted what everyone else already knew: he wasn't funny. He'd prepared one final set, planning to bomb one last time and then quit comedy forever. But that Monday night, Robin Williams walked in unannounced. And when Marcus got on stage and started bombing as expected, Robin didn't look away like everyone else. He leaned forward. He listened. And halfway through Marcus's dying set, Robin stood up and did something that had never happened in Comedy Store history. By the end of that night, Marcus wasn't quitting. He was just beginning. It was March 1996, and Marcus Thompson was 28 years old. He'd moved to Los Angeles from Chicago 6 months earlier, with dreams of becoming a stand-up comedian. He had a journalism degree, $3,000 in savings, and a notebook full of jokes he'd been writing for 2 years. His plan was simple: perform at open mics, get better, get noticed, get booked for paid gigs, build a career. It was the same plan every comedian had. Marcus just didn't realize how hard it would be. The Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard was legendary. The club where Richard Pryor, George Carlin, and Robin Williams himself had developed their acts in the 1970s. Every Monday night, they held an open mic where anyone could sign up for 5 minutes of stage time. Marcus signed up his first week in LA. He'd practiced his set 100 times, had every word memorized, knew exactly where the laughs should come. He was ready. He bombed completely. The jokes that had killed at Chicago open mics died in Los Angeles. The timing felt wrong. The delivery felt forced. The audience sat in uncomfortable silence. When his 5 minutes ended, maybe 3 people gave polite pity applause. Marcus told himself it was first-time nerves. He'd do better next week. Week 2 was worse. He changed his material, rewrote jokes, adjusted his approach. Still nothing. The silence was deafening. By week 5, Marcus had developed a reputation. When the host called his name, other comedians would groan or check their phones. Some would step outside to smoke rather than watch him bomb again. The host, a veteran comedian named Jerry, pulled Marcus aside after week 8. "Man, I don't know how to tell you this, but maybe comedy isn't your thing. I've seen a lot of guys come through here, and usually by week 8, you know if they have it or not. And I'm just not seeing it." Marcus thanked Jerry for his honesty but kept coming back. By week 12, the groans when his name was called had gotten louder. Marcus had become known as the guy who bombs. Not by name, but by reputation. Comedians would warn newcomers, "If you need a bathroom break or want to grab a drink, wait until the tall Asian guy goes up. He's good for 5 minutes of dead air." The Comedy Store manager, sensing Marcus was hurting the room's energy, offered him slots at 11 p.m. after most of the crowd had left. "You can work on your material when there's less pressure," the manager suggested diplomatically. Marcus refused. He kept signing up for prime 9 p.m. slots, kept bombing in front of full rooms, kept coming back every Monday. His savings ran out. He got a job as an overnight security guard at an office building, the only work he could find that allowed him to keep Monday nights free for comedy. He'd work midnight to 8 a.m., sleep until 5 p.m., then spend hours writing and rewriting jokes that still wouldn't work. His girlfriend, who'd moved to LA with him, left after 4 months. "I can't watch you do this to yourself anymore," she said. "You're destroying yourself for something that clearly isn't working. Come back to reality." But Marcus couldn't quit. Not yet. He told himself he'd give it 6 months. If nothing changed by month 6, he'd accept defeat and move back to Chicago. Week 24 arrived. Marcus had bombed 24 consecutive times. He'd performed approximately 120 minutes of material, and he could count the genuine laughs on one hand. He knew every comedian at the Comedy Store. None of them respected him. Most avoided him. Marcus decided week 25 would be his last. He'd prepare one final set, perform it Monday night, bomb one last time, and then quit. At least he could say he'd tried. That Monday evening, Marcus arrived at the Comedy Store at 7 p.m. to sign up. The list was already half full. He added his name and sat in the back of the room, watching other comedians perform. Around 8:30 p.m., there was a commotion at the door. Robin Williams had walked in. This happened occasionally at the Comedy Store. Famous comedians would drop by unannounced, either to work on new material or just to watch. Robin had been performing there since the 1970s. It was his comedy home. The room's energy changed immediately. Everyone sat up straighter. Jokes got sharper. The comedians performing suddenly had the most famous comedian in the world watching them. Marcus's stomach dropped. Of all the nights for Robin Williams to be in the audience, it had to be his final bombing. At 9:15 p.m., the host called Marcus's name. The usual groans followed. A few comedians stepped outside. Others pulled out their phones. Marcus walked to the stage, microphone in hand, looking at Robin Williams sitting in the third row. Robin was watching attentively, not on his phone, not distracted. Marcus began his set. The first joke died. The second joke died. The third joke got uncomfortable silence. Marcus could feel the familiar panic rising. This was his final set, his last attempt, and he was bombing in front of Robin Williams. He pushed through, delivering his material with increasing desperation. Nothing was working. The silence was crushing. Marcus noticed other comedians weren't even pretending to watch anymore. The host was checking his watch. The audience was visibly uncomfortable. But Robin Williams was leaning forward. Listening. Really listening. Halfway through his set, Marcus delivered a joke about his job as a security guard. It was a long setup about the absurdity of guarding an empty office building from imaginary threats, ending with a punchline about having philosophical debates with a mop. The joke bombed like everything else. But then something unprecedented happened. Robin Williams stood up. The entire room went silent. Everyone turned to look at Robin. Robin walked toward the stage, not aggressively, but with purpose. Marcus froze, microphone in hand, having no idea what was happening. Robin climbed onto the stage next to Marcus. "Excuse me," Robin said to Marcus, in a perfect security guard voice. "I'm going to need to see some ID. You're attempting comedy without a license." The room erupted in laughter. Robin turned to the audience, staying in the security guard character. "I've been observing this comedian for the past 3 minutes. He's armed with material that could be dangerous if delivered properly." More laughter. Then Robin turned to Marcus and dropped the character. In his normal voice, he said, "Tell them the mop joke again. But this time, I'm going to be the mop." Marcus was completely disoriented. Robin Williams was on stage with him, offering to be part of his bit. Marcus started the joke again, shakily. As he set up the premise, Robin transformed himself into a mop, slouching, swaying slightly, making subtle movements that suggested a cleaning tool with consciousness. When Marcus got to the part about having philosophical debates, Robin, as the mop, started responding, creating an improvised dialogue that was simultaneously absurd and hilarious. The audience was laughing. Really laughing. Not pity laughs or polite chuckles, but genuine explosive laughter. For the first time in 6 months, Marcus heard what his jokes could sound like with the right delivery, the right timing, the right energy. Robin and Marcus riffed for another 2 minutes, building on the security guard premise, creating comedy in real time. When they finished, the room gave them a standing ovation. Robin handed the microphone back to Marcus, whispered, "Finish your set," and returned to his seat. Marcus stood there, stunned. The room was still buzzing with energy from what they'd just witnessed. Marcus delivered his final 2 jokes. They didn't kill, but they didn't die either. People actually listened. When Marcus's 5 minutes ended, extended to about 8 by Robin's intervention, he received genuine applause for the first time in 25 weeks. Backstage, Marcus expected Robin to be gone. But Robin was waiting for him. "You're not funny yet," Robin said bluntly. "But you could be? There's something there. Do you know what the problem is?" Marcus shook his head, unable to speak. "You're performing like you're trying to convince people you're a comedian. You need to be a comedian. The difference is confidence. You have good material, decent writing, solid premises. But you're delivering it like you're apologizing for being on stage." Robin continued, "I've watched a lot of comedians over the years. Most people who bomb 24 times quit. You didn't? That persistence means something. It means you actually care about this, not just the idea of being a comedian. So I'm going to give you something I don't give many people, my time. Over the next 3 months, Robin met with Marcus every Tuesday afternoon at a diner near the Comedy Store. They'd sit for 2 hours, working on Marcus's material, his delivery, his stage presence. Robin didn't just give comedy advice. He taught Marcus how comedy worked, the mathematics of timing, the psychology of an audience, the difference between writing a joke and performing it. Comedy is not about making people laugh, Robin told Marcus during their third session. It's about making people feel safe enough to laugh. If you're nervous, they're nervous. If you're confident, they relax and become receptive. Marcus continued performing at Monday open mics. The transformation wasn't immediate. He still bombed on weeks 6 and 7 of Robin's mentorship. But slowly, things started clicking. By week 9, Marcus got consistent laughs. By week 12, other comedians stopped groaning when his name was called. By week 15, the Comedy Store manager approached him about a spot on a weekend showcase. Robin came to that showcase. Marcus performed a tight 7-minute set that killed. After the show, Robin gave Marcus his phone number. "You don't need me anymore," Robin said. "You found your voice. But if you ever need advice or just want to talk comedy, call. You've earned that." Marcus performed at the Comedy Store regularly for the next 2 years, building a reputation as a solid mid-level comedian. In 1998, he was hired as a writer for a late-night talk show, his journalism degree and comedy experience making him valuable behind the scenes. He wrote for television for 5 years before returning to stand-up in 2003, this time with the confidence and skill he'd lacked in 1996. By 2005, Marcus had his own Comedy Central special. By 2008, he was headlining clubs across the country. But he never forgot week 25. "I was going to quit," Marcus said in an interview years later. "I'd accepted that I wasn't funny, that I'd failed, that it was time to move on. Then Robin Williams stood up in the middle of my bombing set and showed me what was possible. Not just with the comedy, though that was incredible, but with generosity." Marcus continued. "Robin could have done anything that night. He could have ignored me like everyone else. He could have watched me bomb and forgotten about it. Instead, he jumped on stage, saved my set, and then spent 3 months teaching me how to be a comedian. He didn't do it for recognition or because someone asked him to. He did it because he saw someone struggling with something he loved, and he decided to help." In 2014, when Robin Williams died, Marcus was performing in Seattle. He dedicated that night's show to Robin, telling the story of week 25 to a sold-out crowd. "Robin Williams saved my comedy career," Marcus said from the stage. "But more than that, he taught me that real success in comedy isn't about getting laughs. It's about lifting up the people coming up behind you. It's about seeing potential in someone everyone else has written off. It's about standing up, literally standing up in the middle of a bombing set, and saying I see something here worth saving." Marcus established a mentorship program for struggling comedians, inspired by Robin's generosity. Every Tuesday afternoon, he meets with comedians who are thinking about quitting, who've bombed too many times, who have lost their confidence. "I was week 25 Marcus tells them. "I was the guy everyone groaned at. I was the punchline at my own open mic. And then someone saw past the bombing to what I could become. That's what I'm offering you, not a guarantee of success, but recognition that your persistence means something." Marcus Thompson bombed 24 consecutive times at the Comedy Store. On week 25, ready to quit forever, Robin Williams walked in, stood up during his dying set, and changed everything. Not by making Marcus funny overnight, that took months of work. But by showing Marcus he wasn't invisible. By seeing potential everyone else had missed. By caring enough to help when it would have been easier to look away. A comedian bombed for 6 months straight. Robin Williams noticed, and a career that seemed doomed became a success story about what happens when someone believes in you before you believe in yourself. That's not just comedy mentorship. That's seeing the person beneath the failure. That's standing up when everyone else looks away. That's what Robin Williams did on a Monday night in March 1996. Marcus wasn't quitting anymore. He was just beginning.